Built the citadel during the centuries. The citadel was a lookout point, a restaurant, a museum, and now the plan is that we are going to have a cable car or a funicular running up, so it's not just the locals who can climb up over there or fit people, but also others as well had the opportunity to visit the view from the luxurious hotel in Budapest because of the view. Last time when I was checking, one room can cost 12,000 euro per night. Famous actors, actresses, politicians love coming over here. And now on the right hand side between the two buildings you are going to see the facade of the St. Stephen Basilica. The height of the Basilica 96 meters. You can see a balcony and of course a beautiful tympanum facade. And if you take a picture, unfortunately this panel is a little bit high to see. With the Ferris wheel. We also like to call the Ferris wheel as Budapest Eye. It starts at 10 o'clock to run and it's finishing at midnight, and you just only have to pay 7 to 8 euros. It goes 3 times around the building itself. So we have the synagogue, we have the museum next to us. Behind the museum we have a cemetery. The reason why we have a cemetery over here, because you know when we have the ghetto over here, they could not go out and many people died, more than 2,000 to 3,000 of them, and we could not bury them to the Jewish cemetery, so we buried them close to the synagogue. And when the synagogue was built, the Jewish people tried to fit in with the other community, to not standing out at all, to blending in, and that's why they asked the architect to make it like a Roman Catholic church. But of course it has the Moorish style. You saw it, the onion cupolas. And nobody knows really what was the reason.
Tony Curtis's parents were Hungarian.
But back to the organ in the synagogue, as I told you, Franz Liszt was the first piano player played on the organ. And you know, the Orthodox not allowed to have organ in the synagogue. So what happened when they opened the synagogue for the public in 1859, the Orthodox believers were standing outside at the main entrance and listening the play of Liszt. And you review and the height of the cupola. And the height of the cupola is 96 meters, just like the parliament. Because back in the time we had the regulation, nobody else can have bigger building than these two. The street was named after Count Andrássy, the prime minister of the Austro-Hungarian monarchy from the Hungarian side. And the full length of the Andrássy Avenue is 1.2 miles.
It's a pond that freezes in the winter and they skate on it.
And we made it over here, putting together 21 buildings to make the complex. And it's supposed to stand over here only.
This was supposed to be here for 6 months and people loved it, so they kept it.
So they led the Hungarians over here, so they were pagan animal hunters, they did not know anything about the Christianity, they did not know how to do agriculture. But staying in the Carpathian basement, that was the condition. We had to do this, we had to adopt it. So Stephen VI, the commemoration has 2006 columns. Some of them are quite rusty, but the front is quite shiny and they are really close together. In the back you can see the columns are standing far away from each other. And this is also symbolizing the motto of the Three Musketeers, all for one, one for all. And that was the motto for the uprising in 1956 October. And the student of the university put together a wish list. The wish list included 16 points. The top 3 was that the Soviet leave the country. Our original beautiful flag was destroyed by the coat of arms of the Soviets, so we wanted to get rid of that one too. And of course choosing from more party, not just one, because we always had to choose the Communist Party. In the beginning it was very peaceful, but later on the soldier had the order, they had to start shooting the people. So many people were actually hurt, killed. So when the whole country heard about it, get together. And that's how we hold up the uprising against the Soviet for 12 days. Unfortunately, tanks were invited over here or bought over here from other Eastern European countries. That's how they were able to defeat us.
After the uprising, they were punished.
We were shot by soldiers. Also, we use tickets in the shops, in the grocery shops, and if you were not quick enough in the morning, you went home empty-handed. So it was really hard time. In 1968, Prague had an uprising, and we were forced to defeat, this uprising. And as we follow the order of the Soviets, we get a little surprise or present, if I can say it, a little window to the Western. For example, we were the first Eastern European country to have Coca-Cola factory. Also, we were the first one who were allowed to listen Beatles or wearing hippie clothes. Other Eastern European countries were not allowed. Also, we were the one out of many that were traveling. We were allowed to travel, but the Western countries as well. We had two different passports. We had red and blue. Even told us how many money we can take. In the beginning, that was only $50. Later on, that went up for 100. But we were only allowed traveling by ourselves, not with the whole family. And I remember I was 10 when I had my first jeans as a teenager. Or each winter at Christmas, I was early up because we only had oranges and bananas at Christmas. Only 1 kilogram per family. So if I did not get up early, I missed my shot. And for the historical one, the Healy side. And in 1686, when we have the final battles with them, the gunpowder got on fire and blown up the whole royal palace. And when the Habsburg took over, they made the decision to build a new royal palace. In the Second World War, the Nazis used it as a headquarters. It was completely damaged, and we lost every item of the royalties back in the time, so that's why we use it as a museum. To history to the First World War, you can see the huge soldiers standing in front of it. Carriages coming down and going up. The 0 kilometer. We have the White House. And now, let's talk about the third largest parliament in the whole world. As you can see, it has two symmetrical parts of it. One part was used back in the time by the House of the Lord. The other part was used by the House of the Common. The closest part to us nowadays is used by the member of the parliament. We have 199 members. The other side is used by the guests, by the visitors to see the parliament. Under the cupola, do you remember the height of the cupola? 96 meter. 896 coming over here, 1896 celebration. 96 is a significant number for us. So under the cupola, inside, we have the coronation jewelry there displayed, and of course Hungarian soldiers are guarding it. When we build it, we use 40 million bricks to build the building. We use 40 kilogram gold to decorating it. We have 10 courtyards inside of it. We have 27 entrances, 29 staircases. Of course, to go up to the royal crown, we have a red carpet, which is a little bit over than 1 mile long. If you start it, and if you notice, the other bridges, all of them have pillars, but this one, not. Because the architect believed back in the time that the pillars are only ruining the view of the bridge. And in this case, he was completely right, because from the bridge you can see the UNESCO World Heritage Site. And you can see it from here, the little curve. It's 150 degrees what they closed. If you're facing the river, in the middle you can see the Gellert Hill with the Liberty statue and the citadel on the top. Of course, the white bridge is the Elizabeth Bridge. In front of it we have the chain bridge under reconstruction work. Back the brown building with the green cupola, that's the Royal Palace. We have the White House and the office of the Prime Minister next to it. And 150 degrees. And this, and very shortly you are going to see a lion statue, and underneath the lion statue we have the entrance to the visitor center to the parliament. Remember I told you the Aerocross party was collecting Jewish people from the ghettos and let them down over here. They had to take the shoes off because that was very valuable. They chained 2 or 3 people together, they shot them, and the others were actually dragged and drowned into the Danube. These are replicas of the original shoes. We have 60 pair of them because in 2005 when we erected this commemoration, we have the 60th anniversary of the Holocaust.